Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our professional development and life coach, Miss Coach Barnes. Welcome back. How are you today?
I'm awesome in yourself. Thanks again for having me again.
Well, thank you for being here. Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is the one and only Coach Barnes, founder and CEO of Goldmine Thoughts, located in Brooklyn, New York, 55 Washington Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11201, in the heart of Brooklyn.
Woohoo! And the website is goldminethoughts.com, correct?
That is correct.
Well, excited to get to know you and your company here. Really, would you mind introducing yourself to everyone?
Sure. So I am, like I said, the founder and CEO of Goldmine Thoughts, leadership development and life coaching services, where we cater to elevating your mindset and polishing the crown within you to become your true potential self.
Beautiful. And now you're here today helping so many people, not just in Brooklyn, New York, but you're worldwide, right?
Correct. One great thing that came out of COVID is that I can do a lot of coaching virtually. So that opens up my cast of who I can service. So before, where I was just locally in Brooklyn. Now that everything is virtual, I can be all around the world within the comfort of my home.
That is wonderful. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? What got you started into this?
Awesome. So I would love to say, I've kind of been in the leadership role since forever. I want to date myself, right? But I've definitely been doing leadership training and development of individuals for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
For more than 20 years. I pivoted from in the educational setting, as far as classrooms, dealing with teachers, to in leaders. I decided, you know what? There's a lot of coaches that are developing the professional you, but there's not that many that's developing the emotional you, or the traumatized you. And COVID really opened up my eyes, as well as others, to the eyes of how to the wave of so many emotions that people were trying to navigate through on their own. And it kind of didn't give us a guidebook, right?
Yeah.
It just threw us in there. You left work March 12th thinking that you was coming back probably that Monday, and then we were shut down for 2 years, right? And then you had to try to navigate technology, being home all the time, not being able to separate your professional setting from home life setting, because home is in the next room, work is in one room, and a lot of people, including myself, were struggling with anxiety and depression just because everything was happening all at one time. So I figured, you know what would be a great thing to do to utilize my own experiences, as well as my educational background, to help others navigate through those emotions. And here we are, Goldmine Thoughts.
You brought me back to March 12th. Yeah. I got laid off a job that day. Yeah. Laid off, like, go home and now this is crazy. We have to go. Like, what? We're laying everyone off. What? Like, it was such
mind-blowing, right? Mind-blowing.
Little kids at home. Now what? I'm going to do work from home. Wait, but how? And then you're gone. It's like the stress and anxiety of it all. You said it best, but you really brought me back there. Now you have over 20 years experience in leadership development, correct? And also with staff training. Would you mind just elaborating on that a little bit for us too?
Sure. So like I said, my background is in education. So I spent 15 plus years in the educational field, whether being a substitute teacher to a permanent teacher, to a dean and a leader, admin leader at a school, where I had the lovely opportunity to not only elevate minds of children, but elevate minds of their family members, adults, the teachers, staff members, leadership teams, other leaderships across the network and different other schools. So yes, my experience definitely afforded me opportunity to utilize so many experiences and life experience, right? Not textbook experience, to help others understand and process of what they're going through, but also to value them so that they feel seen and heard. And that's the major part of training, right? Because especially in the educational setting, teachers in the classroom, they have to manage 20 plus emotions, feelings, learning differences, learning styles. But then on top of that, each of those 20 or 20 plus kids come with parents, family members, and then on top of that, then you have your colleagues, you have other teachers, you have friends. Like there's so many things that you're trying to navigate, not even getting the opportunity to think about your own luggage and baggage that you bring with you. So I definitely spent a lot of time catering to the whole person and trying to not only offer the training as far as you need for the class, but identifying and navigating through your emotions so that you can be willing and open to receiving and understanding where somebody else is. So being able to empathetically listen to others.
Got it. And I know you want to talk a little about reconditioning mindsets, and clearly you do that, and creating effective boundaries and effective communication, loving yourself through trauma, and so much more. So you have the stage here, Coach Barnes. Let's begin.
Awesome. So as far as the recondition, I thought it would be great today if we focused on navigating through your emotions and limiting the amount of access that you give others to your emotions. That is extremely important when in this time, in a virtual setting, in the world of COVID, in the world of, do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? Trying to hold your own cough in because you're afraid that if you cough out loud, then people are going to move away from you. But then also, like, what happens to the individual who did get laid off back in March 12th of 2020 and still wasn't able to find find something else because they haven't had that opportunity because they've been at a job for 20 plus years, so they haven't polished their resume, or they have kids at home that they had to stay home with because they were learning virtually, schools were closed, or they have kids that are not at the age that can be tested to go to school. So it's like, what happens to carrying all of that, navigating through everything else in your own emotions, your own anxiety and depression, but then not having an opportunity to have an outlet to, right? So what happens is you often allow others too much access to your emotional state, which then leads into boundaries, right? Because you want to have someone that you can talk to, but not everyone has great advice. Not everybody has the advice that you need in the moment, or are you willing and ready to hear the advice, receive the advice, and then turnkey it, or are you just wanting to vent? Right. So that goes into being able to limit the amount of access that you give others, because if you are emotionally dumping on someone and they're making the whole situation about them, then you've exhausted yourself. You haven't come up with an action plan. You haven't come up with an action plan. They haven't helped you. Now you're even more frustrated because you're like, I called the wrong person. Like, I'm still stuck. But you can also be teed off because they just unloaded their emotional baggage onto you. And now you're trying to navigate that for them as well as your own. So it's like being aware of where you are in the state of your emotions and limiting the access that you give others, so that it doesn't overwhelm you, or you don't have an emotional breakdown or any type of other tendencies that can lead to adding on top of your anxiety or leading to depression. And I know that was a mouthful, but I can talk about reconditioning all day.
That's amazing. Wow. Because it's also you have to want the help. You have to want to, all you need is that desire. But a lot of people get that anxiety and they're fearful and scared, but it's nothing to be scared of, right? You got to at least try. And a lot of, if you try, you don't succeed, at least you've tried. But you need someone like you in your corner to kind of like be your cheerleader, like your ringleader.
Your champion until you can be your own champion, right?
Yes,
I talk about that a lot as well in the reconditioning, learning how to be your own best friend and your own cheerleader. And that doesn't take away from the actual best friend or the team of people that support you. But when you can show up for yourself the way you show up for others, you're more willing to expand your mind and try new things. But unfortunately, what happens is anxiety hit and you don't know what you need often until you need it. So people can come to you and they will individual, your friends, family, like whoever, your colleagues that come to you and they say like, what do you need for me to help? And in the moment, you just don't know because you don't know exactly what you need because you have so much going on in your mind, right? And that's extremely important. Why I also encourage people to brain dump, right? Now, normally people would say, oh, that's just journaling. But why I call it brain dumping is so many times you often have so many different things in your mind and you can't focus on one thing. Or if you're someone like me with ADHD, it's like everything is happening, everything is coming. And so what I do is I set the timer for about 30 minutes and I just brain dump. No questions, none of that. I like anything that comes while I'm writing, I just write it out. And then I allow it to make sense to me later. Because sometimes things don't make sense in the moment, but you just need to get it off your head, off your mind, so that you can open up that capacity to think clearly. And it's difficult, like I said, someone like myself with ADHD, when you have all these moving images in your mind, to focus on anything else, which leads to you feeling overwhelmed, which leads to increase in your anxiety, or either that feeling of, you know what, I'm just going to put it off because it's too much.
Got it. And wow. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, 631-317-1291, 631-317-1291. You can reach out to Coach Barnes here. Also on the website again, would you mind sharing what that is?
Yes, the website is goldminethoughts.com, or you can even type in gmt.llc.
Perfect. Good to know. And again, 631-317-1291. Any questions for her? Anything's on the table. She's one of those wide open book. And she likes, from making strategic decisions, developing your capabilities. GMT is here to help using your expertise, deep understanding of the industry. You're going to receive real solutions. Go to the website, experience true results, really get in touch with her to book a meeting. Do you offer a free consultation, or how does it work if someone is interested in reaching out?
Absolutely. So because I am truly rooted in helping others, my 30-minute consultation is free. Because what I normally do is I do the 30-minute consultation, and what you would normally pay for that fee, I tack it on to whatever package you purchase. Should you not package a purchase, then the fee is $100. But usually people are ready to go, right? And they're looking for the help. And because I do ground myself on empathetic listening, that often help others be ready to make the investment. And I don't like to say purchase, I like to say investment, because coaching is really an investment in yourself because you want to grow and you want to do better.
Absolutely. And what else do you want to share with our listeners today?
I definitely want to share, don't forget to polish your crown. You are already a king or a queen. Polish the gem that's inside of you. And don't forget to pour into yourself. You show up for others. Why not show up for yourself?
Mm-hmm. And if you show up, you got to show up and give it your all. That's another thing, right? How do you keep that positivity? How do you teach someone to keep that angst, that positivity? A lot of us get bummed out easily, get, distracted easily. What is it about you that you are going to really make us do it?
So what I usually do when I say, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to identify buckets, right? You identify your big rocks, your big buckets.
Stand by. We have a call coming in. Hold on. Oh, hello. Welcome to the show. You're live on the line with Coach Barnes. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Sabrina. How are you?
Good. Hi, Sabrina. Say hello to Coach Barnes. I'll let you ladies have a little conversation. Go ahead.
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi,
thanks for joining. You? I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. I just have a question because I've been interning with the company, I'm going to say for a little over a year now. And I'm just at the point where, like, if they don't give me a permanent position, I feel like I need to go elsewhere. But it's like, I really do like the company, and I can see myself having a future here. But, like, I feel like because I'm so spoken, they just, like, go over me and, they don't take me seriously. And I feel like I lack a little bit of confidence, but I don't know what to do. Like, have you ever had somebody in that, like, situation, or is there any advice you can tell me for what to do?
Absolutely. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that with us. What I would say to do is everyone has that opportunity. I mean, everyone has a situation like that or have been in a situation like that, including myself. And what I would say is what you have to do is to weigh the benefits and the losses, right? So no one wants to be without employment. I would say, think about how you market yourself. So polish your resume. Think about all the things that you can offer to the company that you're interning with or that you're off and on with, and make sure that they can see the value of you, not only in person, but in paper. So don't wait for them to come to you. Go to them, show them that you're serious and you're interested in being a part of the company. And this is the benefits that you can add to what they already have that's existing. Let them know what they will be missing should you leave. I will also say to keep your casting net open, right? So think of other places that you will be interested in your line of work and begin to put those fillers out. So just in case you don't get the outcome that you want, you have a backup plan. You don't want to put all your eggs in one bucket, especially at this time now, right? So you want to make sure, first step, weigh the benefits of staying with the company, weigh the losses of should you leave, polish your resume, have your demands or what it is that you can offer to the company, as well as what you're looking to receive. Book a meeting with whoever is in charge. Like book a meeting of whoever's in charge of the hiring process and say, hey, just sending you a friendly email, letting you know I'm really interested in becoming a permanent asset. Like, you always want to put in the wording of like that you're bringing something, right? So you want to say that I'm looking to be a permanent asset within a company. I really enjoy working here thus far. Can you put me on your calendar for about 30 minutes so that I can speak to you about what I have to offer and see if there's an opportunity for me here permanently within the organization, right? And then if you don't hear back from them within 7 days, send that follow-up email. Like, show them that you're serious. A lot of people are like navigating through returning back to work. So there's a lot of things on their plate. So you just want to make sure that you are also seen, heard, and valued. Now, if after 2 to 3 attempts, they don't respond back to you, then they probably already made their decision. But I don't want you to just give up the first time. Okay?
So do you feel like I should give it a time frame? Like 6 months, a year, like?
I would definitely say 6 months is way too long, right? Because you're already there. You've been there for how long?
I've been there for over like a year now.
Okay, so if you've already given a year, all right. So if you've given you close to a year or over a year there already, they pretty much already know your work ethic, right? They could be waiting to see if you make a move, because they may be thinking like, hey, maybe she's complacent, or they don't have an open position. However, you want to put yourself out there to see, like, hey, I just want to know if there's any available positions, or if should there be one coming up, I'm very interested in it. Here's my qualifications. Please keep me in mind for anything that's coming up, or give me up. Can I have an opportunity to interview for whatever position that is open? And make sure you know your background on the position. Make sure you go through a mock interview with a friend or someone that can give you feedback. Show up for the job that you want, not the one that you have. So you want to make sure when you go to that meeting, you are professionally dressed. You know exactly what you're talking about. You know the key points of the job. You know what's required of it. And you also know what you're going to add and how you're going to deliver. The hiring team, I'm telling you, HR and leaders, CEOs, whatever, they look for those things. They want to know that you research the organization and you research about the position that you're applying for. And they also want to know what would they gain by hiring you there. But I would say, give it, just because we're in the process of everyone returning back, I would say you can give it about 3 months. 6 months is way too long, but 3 months. But always keep your options open, and don't be afraid to send your resume out.
Thank you so much. You've been such a help. I do appreciate that so much.
Thank you so much. I love to hear it.
Thank you for the call. Go ahead. And if you want to reach out, give us the website. Have a great day, Sabrina. What is the website?
The website is gmt.llc, also known as goldminethoughts.com.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. All right. Where were we? My goodness. Great call. Anyone else can call to 631-317-1291. In the meantime, we're talking about the coaching services you provide and offer.
Yes. Yes. So that was like right on time, right? So I was talking about talking about developing leaders. And so for the leader package, what often happens is a lot of new leaders, they're like, oh, I'm afraid of presenting. Like I can do behind the scenes, but now I have to go out, I have to speak to people, or I have to do all these presentations. So I offer a package called Command the Room. And that is about being able to show up with presence, saying less, but asking more questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a leader, you want to guide your team. You don't want to just be a boss and delegate. You want to guide your team. People will always follow a leader. They won't always follow a boss, because a boss allows you to do the work, but then they take the credit for all the work.
Mm-hmm.
A leader is willing to get down and be with their team and say like, hey, this is what we have to accomplish. How do we make this happen? They speak in the terms of we rather in the terms of I. And that is inspiring, it's uplifting, and it allows your employees to know that their opinions are valued. You see them as the individual as well as what they bring to the table. So in that, you'll get more productivity, you'll get longer retention, job retention, and it's a better way for effective communication because you're hearing the people that are doing the work alongside of you, not just under you, and being able to have that confidence and command the room. People want to work for a leader they can look up to, that they feel that's going to inspire them, uplift them, because ultimately they want to be a leader themselves.
Yeah.
And when you have someone that's just willing to delegate, or they're like, that's not my job, finding out on your own, you often have a lot of turnaround in your, in employment. So I definitely coach leaders around being able to command the room, show up, be present, but also see, hear, and value their staff.
And teamwork makes the dream work. I love
that. Yes, it does. There's no I in team. There's no
Seriously,
I in team.
Really. It's so true. Oh my goodness. We still have 8 minutes left. We're going over. We had an issue getting connected earlier, so we still have time to chat. Still, give us a call, 631-317-1291, 631-317-1291. Coach Barnes here, willing to help you anywhere around the world. What else in particular did you want to bring up for today's show?
So I just wanted to say a quick plug. Stay tuned for my book coming soon.
Tell me about the book. Talk about it.
So I have my book coming out this year. It's called Grieving to Heal, the Shadowboarding Experience. And it's not only about grieving a loss, it's also about grieving yourself, right? And in terms of grieving yourself, I think about myself like when I found out I was diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis, lupus, and an autoimmune disease. I had to go through the process of grieving the old me so I can step into the new me that I'm becoming now, because I was so focused on the things that I couldn't do anymore that it gave me so much anger that I was shutting down.
I apologize. We have a caller. I just want to make sure we get them on in time. Hi, welcome to the show. Who's this?
Hi, my name is Christy.
Hi, Christy. Please ask Coach Barnes any questions you may have.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm hosting a corporate event this summer. I'm supposed to be giving a speech, but I'm kind of terrified of public speaking. So I wanted to know, could you help me come up with a speech if I needed the help?
Absolutely. Go to my website, goldminethoughts.com, and book a consultation with me. We'll talk more about it. I will definitely get you ready to command the room, ready to present and boost that confidence.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
No
I'm definitely
worry.
going to check out your website. I'm going to reach out. I definitely might need the help or a little bit of more like pinpointing on what I should just highlight within the speech. Wrote something, but I just want to make sure it's perfect.
We'll definitely go through that. We'll go through polishing it, setting it up correctly. We'll also go through what it is to pitch it. So I'll do some mock situations with you where you're allowed to to speak as if I'm your audience and give you direct and targeted feedback to allow you to ultimately be able to command that speech and give it. Okay, so don't forget, go to my site, goldminethoughts.com or gmt.llc so that you can connect with me so I can get you presentation ready.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
We
so much for
appreciate the call.
calling in.
Thank you. And we'll let you finish your thoughts. We were just talking. We still have 3.5 minutes left in the show,
Okay.
Coach Barnes. So yeah, let's.
Right. So, and I'm glad she called then about that,
Yeah,
right? Because that was a big
perfect.
part about
Mhm.
being able to command the room.
Mhm.
And recognizing that you do have jitters. And it's okay, because as myself being a public speaker, I still get nervous right before I go on stage or right before I get on the screen and ready to speak out, give my motivational speakers. But that allows you to know that it's genuine. That allows you to know that it's coming from a great place. I always say, if you're not nervous when you get ready to perform, then you're probably not performing to your best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so that's something that I definitely say. So you should always feel those little jitters, but you should always you should always reach out so that you can get feedback from others so you can tweak those things so you don't feel as nervous.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Now,
Absolutely.
don't forget, my book is coming out the end of this. Yes, the book is coming out the end of this year. It is Grieving to Heal, loving yourself through the trauma, as well as grieving to heal the shadowboarding experience. So it's like I said, it's not only about a loss, it's also about grieving yourself when you're going through those phases and changes to become the best you.
Beautiful. Thank you for being here, for joining us, and remind us how we can contact you.
Yes, always gmt.llc or goldminethoughts.com. Go to the website, check me out. You can find my full biography there, and you can also find out the workshops, all the different things that I have coming up as well, pre-ordering the book, the journal. There's so many things, much more. And I'll be excited to come back. So don't be afraid to catch up with us next week, Thursday, same time, same place.
We are excited to have you here. Thank you so much, Coach Barnes, and you have a fantastic day. Thank you to our callers for calling in as well. And thank you for our listeners. And of course, thank you for doing what you do. See you next week.
Hey,
All right.
Coach
See you next
Barnes
week.
here,
Thank you.
Founder.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.